There's a new mini mining rig you could plug in anywhere in your house, and it's earning over $5 a day. It's pretty cheap too. Like, we're not talking about a crypto miner that costs thousands and thousands of dollars. Actually, it costs less than 500 technically. Today we're going to be reviewing, if I piqued your interest yet, the Iceriver KS0 Pro. To be honest, I didn't think that the KS0 Pro would be all that interesting or lucrative by the time that it came out. But the cryptocurrency that it's mining has just been on an absolute tear. The KASPA KAS cryptocurrency. This is my KASPA mining corner. I'm sorry it's a little loud, but I mean, it's the sound of my people. You know, we making passive income, baby. So this is the KS0 Pro. It's pretty warm. You can put a fan on it if you want, but it's fine for me. The KS0, basically the same footprint, but the new one's better, has been running great. And maybe you're saying, well, I don't care about altcoins. I'm all about Bitcoin. Depending on the mining pool you use, you can actually just mine straight Bitcoin with this and not even touch the underlying cryptocurrency that it's mining, which is actually what I'm doing with it. So that is one of my most profitable Bitcoin miners, and actually I mine more Bitcoin in this corner with a few machines than I do in all these other machines you see in my pod, as well as in liquid cooling, because we started immersion cooling out here on the VoskCoin mining farm. Yo, my name is Vosk. Well, you're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. We're building the VoskCoin mining farm, and let's kind of break it all down, pros, cons, and well, if nothing else, why you should subscribe. I really didn't think this little mini miner 2.0 version was going to be the talk of the town. The Iceriver KASPA ASIC miner, right? The KS0 Pro, the successor to the KS0. We've talked a lot about the KS0 here on the channel. It's not even on their website anymore, but you know, you can reference our previous footage and you can see it here. I mean, it looks the same, but it performs, you know, essentially half as well. So the power consumption is slightly up and the hash rate has doubled here. So I'm actually very surprised at how low of a price point this miner came out at. Okay, you do not frequently see a miner sold for less than $500 that is making like $5 a day right now. You know, granted, the previous one was making 25 bucks a day when I got it in, and it's half as powerful, which shows you how much more difficult it's become to mine the KASPA cryptocurrency. But what no one could predict, could honestly predict, because I mean, you can hope, right? But this performance is nothing short of incredibly uncommon, right? KASPA has gone up significantly in price, and that's where the KS0 Pro becomes so much more interesting, because you're mining a lot of money in dollars per day. Their emission is $1.6 million in the last 24 hours. Okay, a couple months ago, I mean, this was half that. It was less than half that, even though you were mining more coins. You can obviously mine the KASPA cryptocurrency with this, but for example, what I do is I sync it up to NiceHash, and this is actually one of my most profitable Bitcoin miners, ironically, because this cost me like 20 cents a day to run, and I'm earning over $5 a day with it. I've been watching this over the last 48 hours or so since I've had this in. It's been making somewhere between like $4.50 and $6.50 a day, $6.50, just to be clear on that. This was a very interesting opportunity because Iceriver actually sent us this miner directly to review. It's honestly a really cool opportunity to get a miner into review. I was gonna buy one of these anyway, but it's really cool when we're able to get miners into review, because it helps us just create a lot more footage at a lower price point, because I really spend a lot of money on the mining farm I'm building. Like, yes, you're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. What's up? My name is Vosk. But you know, we're building out a crypto mining farm at scale. This is the mining farm I've always wanted to build, and I'm finally able to start building it. You know, I'm spending a lot of money in infrastructure, making my electrician rich, and things like that. So helping getting our costs down and stuff is great. I've been really impressed with KASPA ASIC miners and their earnings across the board. We look at the KS0, right? You know, right now it says earning about $2 a day. We look at the KS0 Pro, you see it dip down to 450. This rapidly changes. The KS1 is essentially 5 KS0 Pros, and it's reportedly earning 27 bucks a day. The KS3M here is, reportedly earning over 145 bucks a day in Bitcoin. And these are not uncommon numbers here. These KASPA ASIC miners are absolute cash cows. At a sub $500 price point, I think the KS0 Pro is really interesting. And so we do have a coupon code that Iceriver gave us directly to share with you guys. So if you do grab one, please punch in the code VoskCoin to save some coin. We've also got a link out that supports the channel in the video description below. But let's look at some mining data. So this is from several days ago. So we could say the earnings might be a little bit less, but we take 20% of this hash rate and you get maybe about 45, 50 coins. Let's just say 50 coins for easy math. Pretty easy math. At 50 KASPA coins, right, you're mining about $6 a day. So if we look at, how NiceHash is estimating that I'm earning maybe, we'll say on the lower end, $5 a day. You could maybe estimate in real time I'm earning 41 coins. NiceHash takes a fee. They're also a hash rate marketplace and stuff like that. So sometimes you earn more, sometimes you can actually earn less. Nonetheless, that's the reality and the situation here. This miner is projected to make, notice we're on the previous generation one, so it's double this. This miner is projected to mine $5.20 a day. And it'll cost you, depending on your electricity rate, somewhere between like 10 cents and 25 cents a day probably. I mean, this thing cost me, around 20 cents a day to run. Like, just put that into perspective. It's nearly $1 a week. The KS0 Pro cost me 10 cents per kilowatt hour for my electricity rate, basically $5 a month. Essentially, right? One of the 30 days that this is mining, one day goes towards paying the electricity bill, and I have 29 days of profit. So let's kind of just look at some quick numbers, right? Well, let's say we make $5 a day times 30. All right, so 150 times 3. So we're probably projected to break even in about 3 months. I mean, obviously nobody knows. One thing to keep in mind is that KASPA reduces their emission of actual coins monthly, which means they are effectively halving their output annually. So we have this chart right here, and you can get a very clear indication of, say, in November, mining 155 coins a block, or it's reduced to 155 coins a block. In December, it's reduced to 146 coins a block. So just understand that you're mining less and less coin, which is going to decrease mining profitability. Furthermore, more and more people keep getting into KASPA mining. The manufacturers are making as many miners as they possibly can because they're making money hand over freaking fist here. So it's becoming more difficult. The more people trying to mine this, the more competition there is, the less coin you're going to mine, which means the less Bitcoin or money that you are going to make. Does it really matter if KASPA continues on this absolute just rocket trajectory? It's up 165% in the last 30 days, right? It's up 71,000% from its all-time low tracked in May of 2022. Wow. Just let that sink in. We're up 30% just in the last 7 days. And before yesterday, we were up 40. It's interesting, we're right here on the heels of the Binance news that's still not listed on, the top tier exchanges, which would be Binance and Coinbase. This is going to be a top 20 cryptocurrency if they can maintain this market cap and these coin prices, in addition to Coinbase and Binance listings. I mean, the amount of clientele just sitting there waiting, right? I was talking to my buddy the other day, and he's like, dude, I want KASPA. That thing looks good. But I only use centralized exchanges. I'm like, come on, bro. Get off the mainstream centralized exchanges and get out there and, it's not financial advice. You do whatever you want to do. But this was before KASPA basically doubled in price, which is over the last month. And, so that's kind of one thing. The other thing is, I'm like, whoa, why don't you get into mining? He's like, whoa, I don't mind. I'm like, well, all right then. That's what's really cool about mining. If you think this, cryptocurrency has any sort of actual value, anything like that, instead of buying it, you can always mine it. Open source, decentralized, scalable, layer 1, first block DAG. It's a fast chain. They have some unique tech behind it, stuff like that. You know, I just always wonder, why don't more people consider mining? And I am rooting for KASPA, if for no other reason than the fact that it's mineable, because that is a very good testament to like the ethos of a cryptocurrency and a proper just distribution of their coins, and facilitating a decentralized anti-fragile network, and just, you know, some serious, you know, real participation there. You know, really kind of bring it back to the Iceriver KS0, right? Let's remote into it. This miner's been running great. If you need to learn more about mining and ASIC mining, granted this is a little mini ASIC miner, watch our ultimate mining guide we just put out. It's an hour long. It should have everything you could ever want to know about this stuff. And it will, if you have any questions, comment, but I try to make it just, you know, all consuming as far as material. One resource, timestamps, take you anywhere you want to go on that thing. I'm already logged in, so let me log out and show you. So you punch in the IP address, you get that from your router or an IP scanner or whatever. You're going to use admin for your name and 1 through 8 for the default password there. And then you can log in. I complained about the mining pools just switching and doing whatever the hell they wanted the other day. So I basically have forsaken the backup pools. I hope NiceHash doesn't go down. And so in this scenario, these miners will definitely stay on NiceHash, because they have no other mining pools to switch to whenever they should feel like it. In particular, I have not noticed that or even made that an option with the KS0 Pro. That was something that was happening with my KS0, my KS1, and my KS3M. So I could only assume that this miner would have done it as well. I'm getting a pretty high rejection rate, 1% on the mining pool. I'm essentially losing 1% of my mining profitability there. You know, if your shares are rejected, it's like, you know, you're submitting in 100 pieces of work a day, but you're only going to get paid for 99 of them. You did the 100th one, or one of the 100 submissions wrong. Essentially, it's a simple way to think about it. We're getting an average hash rate that's about 3% higher than it's advertised. So bonus hash rate's always good thing. I put my mining pool information in. I put my wallet.worker name in over here, save it. I restart the miner normally, but you don't need to. And that's kind of it. This thing is running in the VoskCoin HQ right now in the KASPA mining corner. So the environment in there is, you know, depending on the day or the time of day, really right now, it's somewhere between like 40 and 80 degrees. So it's pretty ideal mining temperatures, very simple. Some people are complaining that this thing's getting crazy hot. I throw this on a metal shelf. I couldn't care less. But if you find this miner to be getting uncomfortably hot for you or whatever you're setting it on, one, make sure you put it on something that is, resistant to melting, resistant, like not flammable, things like that. I don't think that this is really a fire hazard. Iceriver has said in particular that these miners are, fine to run hot and things like that. But you can plug a fan on top and just, you can have a little USB connection going in, and it'll power it. And you can just basically put an auxiliary fan on top, just like a 120 millimeter fan, typical gaming computer, PC tower type fan. Just slap it on top, it'll throw air at it, and it'll, significantly cool it down. We can see my hash boards are running at, one of them is running at 58 C. So 58 Celsius to Fahrenheit is going to be 136 degrees. Obviously that's pretty hot. But again, I let it rip. All there is to it. So this thing's been just, performing flawlessly as you would want and hope. Comes with a power supply that works. A key thing about this miner is that you can plug it into any outlet in your house. It runs on 120 voltage. You could also run it on 240 voltage if you'd like to do so. These miners are a lot of fun. They don't make sense for larger scale miners. You should just buy a bigger machine if you have the budget for it, right? I mean, it's better to just go out and buy a KS3M. So I got my KS3M from ASIC Marketplace. We see this machine does 6 terahash a second, right? So 6 terahash a second is 6,000 gigahash, and we divide that by 200. This is the equivalent to 30 KS0 Pros. Now let's take 30 times 500, and that's because that's essentially your KS0 Pro with the power supply shipped price. So that's about 15 grand. So you are essentially, after you punch in the VoskCoin discount code, shameless plug, you're closer to buying 2 of these machines and doubling your hash rate as opposed to buying 30 KS0 Pros. So it's fantastic. They have bigger industrial grade units here, but I cannot understate how freaking cool it is that they're making mini miners like this, how much I appreciate it, and just the simple fact that like I am cheering for them, I am rooting for them. And it's like they didn't pay me any money or anything like that. I don't have to say these things. You get so much criticism in the comments on YouTube. Just when you like think anything's cool these days, especially in the crypto sector. I wish that Bitmain was a better company and would make miners like this. Imagine like we have the KS0 Pro, but like for Bitcoin, for Dogecoin, for all these other cryptocurrencies that can really help facilitate decentralized at-home mining. But instead, these major miner manufacturers like, Bitmain, for example, prioritize the industrial clients. They make the biggest, most powerful miner they can, and then they sell it in bulk quantities of 1,000, which is resulting in orders in the millions of dollars. And that's not accessible, right? And you have a manufacturer that's, dishing out $500 miners that have pretty good efficiency, and you can order a quantity of one, for the preservation and just revitalization of mining. Like stuff like this is exactly that. So I like this miner. I think it's good. With the way that KASPA has been just ripping up in price, it's been interesting, it's been impressive. Will it continue? Nobody knows, obviously. I think this is a solid miner given the market conditions. I think that the outlook is looking better as each day passes. Quite literally, mathematically, essentially, if we have an inference here, hypothetically, we are getting closer to a bull run. These miners are good today. More miners will come online and make them less profitable as far as the coins they're mining. But if the whole market starts to rocket up, these things will be just fine among all the other miners. And if, everything was popping off and it was a crazy bull run, these are machines that would be selling for a couple grand. I don't want to pay a couple grand for these. It makes sense to grab one now if you're interested. But as always, do whatever the hell you want to do. All I'm here to tell you is that you should subscribe to the VoskCoin YouTube channel because we run 10 seconds of tails on every video. She is our CMMO at the VoskCoin YouTube channel. She's our Chief Mini Miner Officer. And that's all I got today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please hit the thumbs up, share the video, and I'll see you on the next one.